Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the Den of the Drake. Other dragons hoard gold, while I hoard internet cringe. Back at it again with that RPG horror story goodness. And once again, I find myself sitting and reflecting on, Drake, come on, they started filming. Ah, crap, screw this noise, we gotta go.
Welcome back to Secure in Love, the dating show that shows the steamier side of cybersecurity. This season, 3 fantasy creatures duke it out for a chance at love. Drake the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm a niche internet micro-celebrity, no big deal. I'll be signing autographs out by the dumpsters, $20 each.
Larry the Kobold.
Yeah, I work for the micro-celebrity, and I'll only accept green M&Ms in my trailer.
And the Wizard.
I will only accept green M&Ms with the color licked off.
A very colorful cast of characters. I've just received word that our lovely bachelorette is on her way. Stay tuned to see which of these 3 gentlemen will be secure in love.
Those bastards! These were blue M&Ms! Okay, smart guy, run us through your plan again. Hey, don't be mad just because it's my love of garbage TV that's gonna save us. Look, we all know that this year has not been a good one for high-profile data breaches. Dell suffered a data breach that exposed 3.9 million customers. AT&T had 2 data breaches affecting over 11 million people. And Ticketmaster went and lost 560 million customer records to hackers. Don't forget the big one. National Public Data had a breach that was so big that nearly every American social security number might have been compromised. Those hackers were caught just giving them out for free. Right. Basically, what I'm trying to say is don't be too mad at Larry for getting all of our identities stolen. It could have happened to anyone. What? You're the one who downloaded that sketchy gotcha game someone emailed you and immediately gave it the company credit card. Now, we're not here to point fingers. We all know how persuasive anime women can be. But I got a plan to fix this. We just need to hook up with whoever Secure in Love throws at us and all our worries disappear. That makes no sense. Who could this woman possibly be if she has the power to... Oh my god, she's hideous. Eyes on the prize, Larry. She's our ticket to online security. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points, such as the dark web and public court records to alert you if your identity has been stolen. If one of us gets a second date with her, we can end this gotcha-spawned nightmare.
It's time to start the competition. Each of our bachelors will have the chance to make our bachelorette swoon on a date of their choosing. Then, our bride-to-be will choose who will be secure in love.
Good luck, boys!
It's been well established that I am the wizard and I do wizard things, so I'm going to go take her to do some wizard things.
Look, I come equipped with a VPN for secure browsing, so I understand wanting to stay private. But the fact that he just gave me a cocktail napkin with GPS coordinates on it threw up some red flags.
All right, buckle up. Welcome to Wizard 101. I'm going to walk you through some problem-solving techniques. For instance, this man has parked on a red line, so firemen cannot access this building. Now observe.
Wait, what are you?
Fireball! Splendid. Now the vehicle has been cleared and we've given the firemen some free fire so they can make more firemen. Now let's make out.
I think you're confused. Firemen fight fires. They aren't men made from fire.
Well, how could you? Well, I was going to go light stuff on fire with her, but the wizard stole my idea. You little purple snake. You can't just steal my date idea. I didn't steal anything. You know damn well I have no idea what's going on most of the time. Also, who are you? Don't play dumb with me. She's the total package and you know it. You don't deserve her real-time alerts for data breaches. Data broker opt-outs to stop companies from stealing your private info, or password manager. Your passwords will remain weak and unromantic just like you. Committing arson is the most romantic thing you could do with a woman. What are you two doing here? Ah, come on! I don't know why they got so pissed. I was just gonna go fill up my gas tank so I could take it to Olive Garden or something. Well, I got something that neither of you have. Aura, I know that we only met a few minutes ago, but I think you are the most affordable and highest quality cybersecurity hub I have ever seen. I've been meaning to ask you this for a while, but will you offer my viewers a free 2-week trial of Aura if they click the link in the description? They could use it to see if they've been affected by any of this year's data leaks, while also supporting my channel, and it would make me the happiest dragon in the world.
The time has come. Who will Aura choose? Who will be secure in love?
I choose the wizard.
What?
Yeah, I choose the wizard. Little homie can literally shoot fire from his hands, and that's what every girl wants from a man.
Ha! Wizardy Riz wins again! Later, losers! So, she never helped us get our identities back, huh? No, Larry, no she did not. Look on the bright side. You still got those anime women you gave our credit card to, huh? Oh, we're doing this now? Really? Oh yeah, we are. I'm not leaving myself or my loved ones vulnerable to data breaches anymore. And if you want the security and peace of mind that I have, you can go to aura.com/denofthedrake to get Aura for 2 weeks absolutely free, which is plenty of time for Aura to do its work and dig up anyone who might be selling your personal data. It's a great way to support my channel, and I would like to thank Aura for their continued support. Link is in the description. Everyone knows that love is a lie perpetuated by the Hallmark Channel anyway. On to the video. You know what they say, variety is the spice of life, and you know I love my food to be extra spicy. Look, what I'm trying to say is that we got an RPG horror story grab bag today, and I would kill a man for a burrito right now. We got 3 horror stories from the sub, so how about we dive right in? So, we've all heard of Andrew Tate at this point, right? Internet alpha male and the cultural ground zero for the buy my course on how to be a man instead of talking to your dad Ponzi scheme blueprint. Look, full transparency, but when I was young and stupid, I would have 100% fallen for his bullshit, and I would have written off anyone who didn't see me as an alpha male as a hater. But now that I'm old and stupid, I can confidently say that younger me's biggest hater is older me. Look, it's easy to hate on the Tate Meister, but let's not forget the whole reason that a troglodyte like Mr. Tate could gain traction was because hating anything remotely masculine became a core personality trait for so many social rejects, with the inability to shut up about it. What I'm saying is that a weed like Tate only exists because we fertilize the soil with bullshit. Now we gotta deal with people like the star of our first horror story. The first story I have for you today stars a player whose excitement with reuniting with his old high school D&D group comes to a screeching halt when he discovers that one of his old buddies may have developed a bit of an infatuation with a certain internet alpha male. Now, without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right into the horrifying world of r/RPGHorrorstories. Enjoy. Our first story comes from Reddit user Sensitive Issue 450 and is titled D&D Player Tries to be Andrew Tate. So me and a couple of friends decided to play D&D again after years apart after high school. And now most of us had graduated college and some even married. We had recently reconnected on Discord after a couple of my friends had met up in person and decided to get the gang back together. This group included me and my best friend. Still in college, we never lost contact. One that I had not seen since high school, this one was now married and had a kid with his girlfriend from high school. The DM who I had not talked to in years either, and then that guy of the group, who nobody had seen since high school, but was a part of our little group. We agreed to meet up for D&D at that guy's apartment. My friend would bring his wife, and I brought my girlfriend. When we got to that guy's apartment, he had a shitty car that he had painted up to look what he probably thought was badass. When we came to the door, that guy had no shirt on and sunglasses and had shaved his head. We were just like, okay. That guy also made a joke about us bringing chicks to a man's game. He ended up rolling a dragonborn barbarian with a harem that served his and his clients' every sexual need. He even tried arguing with the DM about why he should be allowed to bring the harem on their journey with him, and that DM tried pushing back, but that guy just got louder and more aggressive, and the DM caved and let him bring his harem with him. And this was a mistake, as almost every woman we encountered, from barmaids to enemy combatants, he would offer them a position in his harem. He also just kept hitting on my girlfriend's character, which made us both uncomfortable. I even confronted him about it after the session, and he just kinda gaslighted me about it, saying, "Stop being so paranoid. No one is trying to steal your girl. Jealousy is very unattractive to women. It just makes you look like a beta." I told my girlfriend that if he made her uncomfortable, we can bounce, but she wanted to stay. She had made an Eladrin sorcerer girl that she really liked and thought that guy was just a minor annoyance. The next incident came after my friend, an orc warlock, suggested that we spend the day shopping before we leave the city. That guy groaned and said, "Why the hell are we doing that?" My friend said, "We need some armor and weapons, bro. Plus the city is rife with the big bad evil guy's spies. We might be able to learn something." That guy then said, "If he has spies, that's all the more reason to bounce. I don't need no fucking armor anyway." My friend then started getting irritated and said, "Maybe you don't, but the rest of us do, so let us have a day, please." And then that guy pouted for the rest of the session and said that we were wasting time, before saying, "Ugh, you're turning D&D into some little girl dollhouse simulator." He then made fun of us by trying to imitate a stereotypical teenage girl shopping as we went out to town. We then decided to stay in town for the next session to investigate a mysterious spy that was hiding somewhere in the town. He got bored and decided to murder our leads that could have helped us find the spy. When questioned, he claimed, "They were stalling us anyway. They probably would have just led us right into a trap." Ironically, his shenanigans made us have to remain in the town longer to find the spy, but we did find him and decided to move on. The last straw, though, was the time that he showed up drunk 3 sessions later. He dropped all pretense of plausible deniability, and while our party was fighting said mysterious spy, who turned out to be a were-tiger with a couple of spells the DM added, he ended up striking the final blow, and then got really loud and pompous and unironically said it was due to his alpha male source energy. Then, after the session, he followed my girlfriend to the kitchen while we were having our post-session dinner. I didn't hear this, but I found out later that he said, "We are gonna end up together. I just know it." She told him to back off, and he said, "You don't have a choice, baby. The universe has manifested it." And then he leaned in for the kiss before she slapped him. I didn't find out about this until we got home, and she told me that she didn't want to play anymore because she didn't feel comfortable in his house anymore. She told me the whole story, and then she had to try and convince me not to go back to his house to kick his ass. I then told the DM that we wouldn't be playing anymore. The DM then asked me if it was over something that guy did. I didn't give him the details, but I told him that he was being creepy and making my girlfriend uncomfortable. DM seemed to get it on some level and agreed to kick the guy without asking any questions. We all then decided to go to DM's place for the campaign from now on. And eventually my girlfriend did tell the party what happened, and we all kinda looked back on this behavior and agreed that, we should've kicked the Andrew Tate wannabe a long time ago. We didn't because we were so caught up in getting the gang back together. Sometimes you just gotta accept that your old friends have changed. End of story. I'm gonna be honest, I have a really hard time believing that this happened. Our antagonist is way too cartoonish beyond believability. Hell, the homie is literally cosplaying Andrew Tate. OP's account is only a few days old. The story that started off taking place in an apartment magically shifted to taking place in a multi-roomed house. And crapping on Andrew Tate is guaranteed to net you some free karma on Reddit. Add in the whole, my girlfriend had to hold me back from kicking his ass because I'm so awesome and manly and use Reddit. And you got my spidey sense tingling a little bit. But let's just say for the sake of discussion that this post is real and OP genuinely had to deal with an Andrew Tate cosplayer. So I've discussed at length how I've gone through my own character arc of overcoming the alpha bro mentality. So I'm not going to subject you to another retelling. Quick recap for those who aren't aware, I used to have the same amount of intelligence as the dumbbells I was obsessed with lifting before I grew a single brain cell and realized that being a man is more about providing and caring for others than it is about obsessing over yourself. Whoop-de-doo, someone give me a cookie. Now, I may be a bit biased, but I see this guy, who probably does not exist, as a victim. Don't get me wrong, anyone who acts like this is an irredeemable prick who 100% deserves to have his teeth knocked out, but a lot of people need to realize that being a victim and being a dickhead are not mutually exclusive. I see this guy as a victim in the same way that someone who embedded a tick into their own neck would be a victim. The alpha male mentality is like a parasite because it requires the perfect conditions for it to develop and thrive. Now, I already alluded that the people who despise Tate the most had a hand in laying the groundwork for him to become so notorious to begin with. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and when Isaac Newton was writing that down as his third law, I doubt he realized it would apply to way more than just physics. If you teach a generation of boys that they are problematic just for being born a certain way, and that they alone shoulder the blame for all the world's problems, then why are you acting surprised when the bad bald man only needed to say, "You are fine as you are," to make all these men eat up whatever bullshit about Bugattis he served them? Sorry if this got a little preachy out of nowhere, it's just a topic that's really near and dear to my heart, and I genuinely hope we can start propping up some positive masculine role models for our boys soon. Because holy shit, the ones we are propping up are not it, Chief. So join me as we weep for the alpha male and cast our pity down upon him, and maybe laughter and mockery. Okay, maybe a brick or two, because at the end of the day, these are adult men choosing to live this way, but I guess it depends on how alpha I'm feeling in the moment. Story number 2 comes from Reddit user MeGotCybercock. God damn, and is titled, "Player Creates Lolita Character, Quits Game After First Turn." This story begins back around the latter half of 2019. Cyberpunk 2077 was gaining traction because its release was approaching. I was very excited for it, so I decided to run a Cyberpunk 2020 game. Not very well, as it was both my and everyone else's first time playing the game. Me and my D&D group were very excited, so I took on the arduous process of asking people if they wanted to join. Now, the only important one is a player who we'll call Adonis for the sake of having a name. I had also made the mistake of allowing the players access to a website with a bunch of homebrew items and definitive stats on it. This ended terribly for me due to a couple of players stat checking everything that had appeared. So Adonis approaches me with his character idea. It was a 27-year-old, short, lithe woman who had a very youthful appearance. Now my brain goes, alright, so he's using cybernetics to hide her age. But my brain had not gone into red alert. Sounds innocent enough, I thought. Again, I was young and naive. Adonis's character was not cyberized at all, and was actually a sewer rat who would dress in high-fashion, doll-like clothing, and was a part of a terrorist cult group that despised cybernetics. My brain did not put together the pieces of Adonis's character. I did not think much of it because I assumed that I would have never met these kinds of people. I was young and a bit of a pushover. I wanted everyone to have their character fantasy, and I did not think that much into Adonis. But I did warn him that this is cyberpunk. Like, you definitely can play a character against cybernetics, but it's likely that you're gonna lose a limb at some point. So this is where the website with the homebrew comes in. Adonis sent me a weapon that he wanted to use. It was a straight-up Warhammer 40k bolter. Straight up, with stats to match. Essentially, it was a high-powered, fully automatic rocket launcher. That's a really good gun. I don't think you should have it this early, but Adonis wouldn't let up. He's in his late 20s at this point, and he starts throwing a tantrum at me.
Well, my character wouldn't use any other guns.
And,
well, I guess I'm useless in combat now.
I was about 16 at the time, so I just folded and let him have the gun. Now we get to the session. Adonis's character is role-playing as his character and making people uncomfortable. I thought it was funny at the time, but looking back on it now, it was really freaky. Talking in a high-pitched, childlike voice, referring to a lot of explicit themes, and acting excited about going through the red light district, which did not exist in my game. He just role-played it out as the group was driving to their destination. Then we get to first combat. Everyone's doing really well. Even when they crit fail, they are only ever taking small wounds because of their weapons and armor. Then we get to Adonis's first turn. He decides to go fully automatic on his bolter. His lightweight body, he put no points into the body stats, made his recoil hard to control, and his lack of cybernetics and armor came to a beautiful head as he rolled a natural 1. For those of you who have never played Cyberpunk 2020, when you roll a 1, you then roll from a fumble table to see how you messed up. Adonis rolled the fumble that causes self-damage. Narratively, it's supposed to be like a ricochet or a misfire. Now, this wouldn't be a big deal if Adonis was using a normal weapon, but he had a bolter. The bolter did over 10 damage to both of his legs, meaning they were blown off, and instantly became incapacitated and almost bled out. Adonis then said he had to go and left. Then his character was stabilized and carted off to a private hospital. His sewer rat character was ultra wealthy, hence the doll clothes, and despite the occupation of a sewer cultist. Later I asked him what his plans were for his character. I suggested a couple of ideas, like maybe they can get cybernetic legs, or maybe they can get a wheelchair because of their hatred of cybernetics. How does this character develop now that she has a conflict between her ideals and the practicality of walking? The answer was Adonis leaving the Cyberpunk game and the D&D server, and no one heard from him since. But I did hear that he got booted out of another server for trying to justify posting lolly stuff in the NSFW tab. It's not as spicy as some people probably want, but it's a story I remembered after talking with a few of the people who were in the Cyberpunk game at the time. Edit/update. I decided to scour my Discord to find the dude's profile. I found him. I won't go into personal details, but they have doubled down on their doll fetish/obsession, and now identify as female, have undergone HRT, and now dress in those uncanny anime doll outfits. Do with this information what you will, because with the previous context, it's pretty cursed. Damn, I know that 40k lore says that bolters kick hard, but I didn't know they kicked hard enough to blow your legs off and give you a sex change. Too bad it didn't smack their brain hard enough to rid them of their sick fantasies. Cards on the table here, being into lolly stuff is just being a diet PDF file. Full stop. I do not care whatever justifications you want to pull out of your ass to try and excuse it. Just because you say the person who looks like a child that you got printed on your body pillow is not a child does not change the fact that you have someone who looks like a child on your body pillow. I'd insert another joke about Vosh's secret folder here, but I feel like I've already done too many of those and I don't want people to think I'm a one-trick pony. Because we already know he's got a thing for ponies. Damn it! Okay, I promise that's the last one. I don't want to be beating off a horse. I mean beating a dead horse! Fuck! Okay, back on the topic of the story. This whole thing makes my skin crawl. The main defense from the terminally online when they're defending lolly stuff usually boils down to some variation of, bro, why you tripping? It's not even real. Well, the reason why I'm tripping, dear listener, is just how often we see things that are only fantasy attempting to spill over into real life. Case in point, this guy going from fantasizing about tiny women in doll clothes to becoming one. Don't get me wrong, the sex change is not the issue here. You do whatever you feel is necessary to be happy and comfortable in your own skin. It's your right, and goddamn, I love it for you. The problem here is that this guy is not motivated by gender dysphoria. It seems a lot more like this guy is really just trying to turn his fantasies into reality. And when your fantasies involve characters that look like children, and according to the backstory that OP dug up and put into the comments, child trafficking, well, that's when we start checking the Home Depot for sales on wood chippers, isn't it? Y'all want to know what makes this worse? ROP was only 16 at the time of this incident, which means that Adonis here was already involving a minor in his fantasies about minors in the first place. I really hope I'm just reading way too into it, and that what my gut is telling me is wrong, but man, I refuse to give people like this even an inch, because I cannot stand the thought of a world where these creatures get comfortable enough to take a mile. And I'm grateful to know that I sit comfortably in the majority on that opinion. Not gonna lie, OP, that was plenty of spice for me. Thank you. And I think I speak for everyone when I say, please do not put yourself into any more situations where the spice level may increase. Our third and final story comes from Reddit user NormalBumblebee9880 and is titled, Player Postpones Game by Locking Himself in My Bathroom. Months back, I started writing and configuring a D&D campaign for me and some friends. I'm new to the game, but I had studied up using the player's handbook and a few other books. The monster manual, Tasha's, etc., etc. DMing has always seemed like a fun role to play, since I enjoy seeing how people engage in storylines. Originally, I had set up a campaign with 4 players, all people that I knew decently well, including my best friend. For some context, I had asked my best friend to contact some of her friends to see if they would be interested in playing, but one didn't respond. Despite this guy showing interest in playing about a week ago in a GC conversation, he didn't reply to her text. At the time, I was hesitant to get closer to him for a couple of reasons, so I assumed that he wasn't seriously into it. I told her that it didn't matter and that I don't know why I requested you to ask him in the first place. That's my bad. Fast forward about a month later and I got a text from him saying, "Does you have a problem with me? Why did you invite me to the D&D campaign and then leave me out of it?" Me: "I wasn't sure what you wanted to do." Sam, best friend, never told me you wanted to get involved after she asked you. I ended up calming him down, and he said he wanted to play a changeling warlock, which I said would be cool for this campaign. To give you a little bit more information on this guy, we'll call him Ethan. Ethan is someone I met through a friend of a friend around the beginning of 9th grade. When I first met him, he seemed to make no effort to learn my name and called me Arnold for a while after that. While that annoyed me, he also had a thing for touching me in awkward ways, like caressing my shoulder and getting a little too close for my liking. I wanted to tell him that it made me uncomfortable, but weeks after meeting him, I found out that he also had an unmedicated bipolar disorder. I also found out that setting boundaries and telling Ethan not to do things, even jokingly, can lead to a shutdown in his emotions. Out of fear of triggering this, I just distanced myself from him instead of setting that boundary. He was overly sexual and shared way too many uncomfortable details about his, private life. I didn't want to hear about this. My friends didn't want to hear about this. Nobody wanted it. After 4 separate weeks of trying to plan our first session because of scheduling conflicts, we finally landed on a date. And I was excited. My mom and I had gone to the dollar store to pick up tons of snacks for everyone to share, and I grabbed a whiteboard to make a map for our first combat encounter. I got kinda anxious, so I asked Sam to come over early and everyone else piled in later. Ethan was riding with someone else, and they ended up getting there late, which wasn't much of an issue. I asked Ethan multiple times if he had his character sheet prepared, and he just responded with,
I don't know, Ja.
and laughed it off. An hour goes by before we play, and while I'm setting up everything I need, I notice that Ethan is playing with my window blinds. One of the blinds is currently broken, so it inevitably falls on the floor. Sam laughs and tells him not to do that, obviously not serious since it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't mad either. I was just focused on getting everything set up. Ethan nods and then sits down quietly, and we start the game. I give my opener and each player gives their character introduction until it's down to Ethan's turn. We all wait a moment to see if he needs a second to think, but eventually I prompt him, in character, to say something. After he doesn't respond, I see that he's curled up in a ball in the dark corner of the room. I drop the act to ask if everything's alright. He nods and cringes, but then seconds later jumps up and bolts out of the room and into my bathroom, slamming the door and locking himself inside. We all stay silent, and the friend he's riding with suggests that we all just stall in character for a couple of minutes to give him some time to calm down. 15 minutes go by, and I can't take it anymore because it feels wrong. So I pause the game so his friend can go talk to him. Another 20 minutes go by, and at this point I'm losing hope that we'll get to play. Some of the players also really needed to use the restroom by now, so Sam went to knock on the door. Ethan comes out with his friend like everything is fine and laughs everything off, despite us hearing him crying in the bathroom. I had put all of my supplies away and decided to postpone the game again since everyone was losing interest. We spent the next few hours just hanging out, and I texted my frustration to a few family members who told me not to worry. We were all listening to music and eating around the table, and while in conversation with another friend, I overhear this conversation between Ethan and Sam. Sam says that Ethan doesn't listen to mainstream music that everyone else listens to. Ethan then responds by saying that
1 million Spotify listeners is a lot.
And Sam disagrees, saying that there are plenty of other artists that have more. I don't think Sam meant this as an insult or a jab at his music taste, and it was stated as more of an observation. Ethan then runs outside into the stairwell. We live in an apartment building, and absolutely slams my front door. We're all staring at each other silently when Sam follows him outside to ask him what's wrong. I overhear very distinct crying and something like this.
You made me feel insignificant. 1 million is a huge number, and you do not even know how big that is. You just embarrassed me in front of everyone. Leave me alone.
Sam then shuts the door and walks back into the kitchen. But Ethan opens the door again to say,
Do not leave me in the middle of my sentence like that. You can't just ignore me.
Sam then explains that he told her to leave, but Ethan just mumbles something angrily and shuts the door again. He texts his ride asking her if they could leave, and they both leave shortly after. Ethan then sends Sam an audio message saying,
I feel my emotions 100 times more than you. You do not understand. I am trying to save us by isolating myself like that. I don't want us to go down the bad path. I know you feel like I'm overreacting, but it feels like I'm drowning all the time.
He sends me a similar message, only shorter. I recognize that he has a severe mental health problem based on both of these confrontations. Based on how insignificant these triggers seemed, I don't know what treatment he receives for these problems. I really do hope he gets some help later, but this situation left a bad taste in my mouth. Later on, I banned him from the table and told him not to contact me again. I tell the rest of the group that he will not be playing with us again, and that it's not up for discussion. His friend replies, I wasn't bothered, but okay. She proceeds never to text me again, even when the school year started. Fast forward to today. I have removed 3 of the players, Ethan, his friend who ghosted me, and another disinterested person, and just went ahead with my 2 best friends. We're having our 3rd session next week, and it has been a lot of fun. End of story. Aw man, let me tell ya, bipolar disorder is no joke. Now, I'm not saying that this guy is destined for the asylum life, but maybe signing him up for a surprise grippy sock vacation might be doing him a favor, just saying. I can't say what the play would be for a situation like this, but I imagine it's gonna be something similar to what OP ended up doing. If the most microscopic thing is enough to get him screaming and crying all the time, then a D&D game involving him is just not gonna happen. Straight up. And let me tell you how rich it is that his friend is just like,
Oh, I wasn't bothered.
whoa, well, good for you. That's like being the getaway driver for a guy robbing a 7-Eleven and then being like,
What are you whining about? He didn't bother me at all.
yeah, I'm just so overjoyed that you're doing okay. It's not like I had to hold it for half an hour because homie decided to cry into the hand towels I keep in my bathroom. I have a suspicion that the only way that he's able to live unmedicated like this is because of all the people around him just putting up with it. Not once have any of his friends or family stopped to think, maybe Ethan's mental state is gonna end up being an issue for himself and others if things don't change. Because they're too afraid of hurting Ethan's feelings. Call me insensitive, but between taking shelter in the bathroom, screaming about how 1 million is a big number, screaming about being left alone after asking for solitude, and crumpling into a ball when asked what his character's name is, I think his feelings are gonna be hurt regardless. Ethan needs some mix of medication and therapy, and tiptoeing around him like he's a delicate flower is only gonna serve to make the problem worse. I mean, come on! What do you think is gonna happen when he fails a persuasion check? What if he rolls a natural 1 at a critical moment? What if his character actually dies? I have a sinking feeling that the best case scenario would be him trucking off to the bathroom quiet place again. Look, I get it. Sometimes a good bathroom cry is just what the doctor ordered. But I'm willing to bet a lot of money that the doctor's going to be ordering a whole lot more when it comes to dealing with Ethan. But you know what I'm always ordering more of? Fan art. That's right, how about we take a look at this week's Gallery of the Drake. This week's fan art comes from viewer Vocundus and depicts a different perspective on the Drake's quest for cringe. You know, I feel like I've seen this character before, but I'm not sure where though. Drake, you and the wizard have been binging Smiling Friends for 3 days. Get your ass back in the studio and record another video before the landlord gets pissed. My precious cringe has gone missing, unless one of you took it. Thank you again, Vocundus, for submitting your art. If you'd like to see your fan art featured in Gallery of the Drake, be sure to upload it to the official Den of the Drake subreddit, which I will link in the description. Yeah, we got one of those now. Memes and your own D&D stories are appreciated as well. Fan art is my favorite part of doing YouTube, and it means the world to me that I can inspire artists like you to create artwork like this. With the story over and artwork displayed, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and upload your fan art to the subreddit. And if you feel like supporting the channel further, my Patreon and merchandise links are in the description. I would like to thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you next time in the Den of the Drake.